does indeed win him this game. We have our red Terran Foggel in the bottom left, with NoZyneighbor creeping in the top right. He will be all up in this red Terran's business, a little bit too much for his own comfort even. But we will start this just a little bit faster. No two rats play coming out at the start of the game. Always nice to see an actual macro game. I really love this matchup, especially when it devolves into Marine Tank, just because I really like that chess game sort of mentality. We do see a very early gas, actually. That was gas before Barrett's. This is going to be an insanely fast Reaper. That is the only thing that I would think he would get the gas that early for. And Terra Blue is starting his own at this point rather, but it will be greatly delayed in comparison. Red getting even more gas. He might go for double Reapers or from 2 Barretts. We will see. But nothing going on just yet. Maybe speed this up just a little bit yet again. We do have the orbital coming out from blue. Due to that delayed Barrett's, though, that orbital is still not coming out from red, and that will hurt his economy later on. We will see this Barrett's finishing up, though. Not another Barrett's in sight. I don't know. Why is he making a Marine with this? There goes a very quick factory, though. Maybe he has something set up that I just don't know about. We will see what his build brings about, though. More SCVs being made for both sides. Excuse me. And just Marines being made. That gas needs to be used for our friend NoZyneighbor. He is going to start that reactor, probably starting a factory here soon with that. Possibly going for double Marines, though. This SCV being a hero, even though he knows he's going to die. There goes the last shot. Almost. He might even get out. No, he just stops there. Taking the bullet to the back. There's probably some form of phrase that's based off something like that, but that is beside the point. We do have the factory finishing up, and what will he go for next? He goes for a 1-1-1, possibly getting a tech lab on here and going for some form of Banshee play. I don't really know what else he's going to do. He stopped making SCVs, and he does have both geysers taken. The command center going down for our friend NoZyneighbor. We will see him be expanding here soon. There goes the tech lab on the factory, and that will allow him to get those probable Banshees out as fast as possible on that starport once it finishes. And he's just going to keep making SCVs. Doesn't want to get a supply lot, though. That will definitely hurt his production. He does have another supply depot rather being made right here that will complete his wall in. You don't want to usually make the starport that close, because if the SCV did come up here again, it would have seen the starport. Usually you want to do this further in the back of your base, but he does start that cloak. He will start the Banshee here soon once he gets enough resources, 100 gas for every single Banshee, and there it goes. More Marines being produced at the same time. This is a Banshee rush. Haven't seen one of these since Winds of Liberty, very early on actually. So this is nice to see an old build coming back, even though I personally hate it as a Protoss player. And that cloak will be finishing up here in a bit. It does take quite a long time to get there, and there is no way to speed that up and you were that Protoss player. So, anyways, we do have another tech lab coming out, maybe just going for a straight 1-1-1-1 build, which is not the most effective thing in TvT, but maybe he will make it work. Hellions, Marines, and Metavats will be the composition for our blue Terran, and that won't be too very strong against this if there are siege chains or something made. We will see. The scan did go down, did see the Banshee, did see the tech lab researching. His response is an instant Viking, as well as getting that second orbital for those extra scans, and that Viking will be able to take care of the Banshee by itself, especially if those scans are successful. The Hellions going out and might stop this base right here. They can kill this amount of Marines, especially if the Marines stay in a line like they are. This Banshee coming in, being scanned, being taken out. There it goes from the last shot from this hero Marine right here. He might be a recruit, but he is a private first class now. Starting those engineering bays at the same time, going to get those double upgrades as per usual. And we will see those coming out here soon, while the other Terran does not have any of those started. Starting stim, though. No stim for our blue Terran, and that will begin to hurt him later on. But these Hellions doing a lot of damage to the Marines will take all of them out. The Banshee over here, though, will take out the Hellions. Stopping the expansion from being built is a very effective way of using those Hellions, and they did kill quite a few Marines, those Hellions being very effective. We see a total of 9 units killed for our Blue Terran, and one of those being an SCV, the other ones all being Marines and 1 Banshee. Very effective of those Hellions and the Marines in the base. Other than that, we do see that Command Center will finish up. He did bring another SCV. Missile turrets being set up for any future Banshee arrests in both mineral lines. And here comes this Banshee right here. He will need to bring these Marines down, or the Viking that he did create. This SCV does go down, and more of them going down as well, trying to repair a building that is not done yet. That is not how Terran works. He does scan the Banshee, even though it did not cloak right away. Possibly wasting a scan. We did see it cloak right before it died, but in that scan, it does not matter. Tanks being made for both players now, and one already on the field, so we will have a slightly superior tank count. Banshee's still coming in, trying to be as annoying as possible and spading out those scans. No scan energy left, and there is one now, though, and he is going to take this out after losing more and more Marines. I don't know why the SCVs were pulled, possibly just a missed click. But we will see that Stimpad finishing up for the Red Terran here soon. It is 3/4 of the way done. Another siege tank coming out. He's just going to go straight Marine tank, which is my favorite build in this matchup, as well as in TvZ. But we also see the 1/1 upgrades are now started for the Blue Terran, and those will definitely give him an advantage, seeing as how there is not even an engineering bay on the field for our Red Terran. Starting another barracks, though, probably not the best thing. He does need to get that production in full swing, but when he doesn't have the upgrades, it will start hurting him. This Viking will start to gain air superiority. It had a little bit of a lack of. I just lost my train of thinking there, and I'm looking for my dog. She is starting to cry a bit. Probably should let her outside after this video. But our combat shield is started. And what else do we have here? The engineering bay for the Red Terran will finish, but the other Terran is on 2 engineering bays at the same time. And we do see Red moving in here, taking a few tank shots. That air superiority from the Viking, giving the blue tank a much greater line of sight, will definitely hurt Red in the end. We will see the stim and combat shields both at the same time on these 2 tech labs for Blue. He needs to get those upgrades out to fight this Red army, and the combat shields for Red will be finishing up here soon, as well as 2 more geysers. Neither player getting a 3rd base. I don't even know if they have any extra command centers. It looks like they do not. You do want to get that here soon, so that way you can stay on a good base count as you progress through the game. We do have an armory coming out, which will allow for those higher level upgrades from Blue, definitely giving him an advantage in this game. Other than that, though, we don't see too much else going on. We do see that 3rd command center being thrown down for the Red Terran. Still nothing in sight for our blue friend NoZyneighbor. He's being a little nosy, but he definitely wants to get some scanning or some scouting done if he wants to live up to his name. We will see if that comes at any point here soon. He might even be moving out soon. Has a decently sized army, especially if he does throw a drop. I always like to throw tanks in my drop, throwing maybe 2 medevacs out instead of just the 1, maybe even 3. It's not necessarily a death drop if you do pull out, but you do not want to or rather, those tanks will do so much damage if you do drop them. And I was watching a game earlier today where as soon as the Terran saw tanks dropped on his base, there was also tanks on the low ground behind the drop. The Terran instantly left because he knew he could not do anything at the point. This 3rd base will be seen and will have to be canceled, if not killed, instantly. We will see if he gets to cancel. He does at the very last second. Very good on his part to save those minerals. He is going to walk straight into a siege tank, though. He does not want to do that. These other tanks are not sieged yet, but these Marines on the side will be taking a lot of damage, as well as these ones. 3 siege tanks for the Blue Terran, and all of those will be doing more. Now they have 4. If the Marines need to basically stim and get in the face of the tanks, but instead they're just going to go straight up here, and that is not the way you fight siege tanks. But now that battle could be, I guess you could say that Blue won, since he does have 1 extra tank, and these tanks were just left here because he knows he can't pull them back. But now these Marines and tanks will just land on top of those siege tanks and kill all of them. Not even taking any hits, 1 or 2 hits on this tank, that's about it. Not dealing a lot of damage to it at all. Other than that, though, We do see the armory coming out for our red Terran. That will allow him to get those extra upgrades. He is going to get that +1 armor finishing up here soon. We did not see the 2-2 started from our red Terran, or from our blue Terran rather. He does want to get that going. He does instead have vehicle weapons level 1 started, and will be finishing up here rather soon. A sensor tower is going down, and that will allow him to have that extra vision that will go down right here, it looks like, as well as another one at the natural to make sure nothing's coming from this top side, no drops coming. You will actually see this Marine actually does have such a large radius rather. But we do see that +2 weapons coming from the blue Terran. We will want to see the +2 armor starting soon. Red is going to be ahead in upgrades here soon, actually. His +2 weapons is slightly behind, but his +2 armor will be very far ahead at this rate. Other than that, we see more add-ons being produced for both players, and we see a sensor tower also going down for blue. If it would just take me to where that was, it will be at third base, making sure that that base is protected against any units coming in, but it will also alert the red Terran to show that his third base is down. He has already shown blue that his third base is down as well. Ugh. That is just a lot going on. Marine tank being produced at actually the same exact rate, but no medevats on the way for our blue Terran yet. And we will speed this up just a bit. I don't know what all is going on here other than just the upgrades just macroing up a bit. Blue falling behind in macro. He is down by a total of about 10 supply. You will want to fix that here soon. And he is going to move out into the center field here soon. Probably want to do a drop while you push in. This Marine was blocking the fourth base possibility, and that was taken out very quickly by that Marine tag team. This base, he might want to just come in from this side very quickly with a medevat boost or something, start hitting this base. This army would have to come up here, and he could just have siege chains set up somewhere in this area, even with the sensor tower. He does want to get that down, though, to make this a much safer attack. This drop will go into the center field. The red Terran does see it, but how does he respond to it? By doing nothing at all at this point. He will want to take care of that really soon. We do see 3 Marines charging up into the blue third base, and they might actually take down the sensor tower, which is actually rather expensive. I believe they are about 150, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me actually check that as we do see this drop being cleaned up. They are 125, 100. Very expensive for a single building just for that detection. But we will see what's going on. Right here, I'm sorry, my dog is chewing on things. I do not mean to take focus away from the game, though, because we do have this third base going down. This army will engage, but 3 to 4, now 5 siege chains actually, 6 of them actually, could not see because of the medevats. They will be taken out, but dealing so much damage to this army, not getting any more shots off. And the medevats just being left there above the Marines, that's a terrible way to spend those, all of those being very expensive units and very core to this build. NoZyneighbor in a bad spot, but still ahead in supply, losing all of his army though and all of his tanks. Resetting the tank count can do a lot in TvT, and you do not want to be on the receiving end of that. Otherwise, though, we do have this small army out here, more medevats being made, another drop coming in. A siege chain was not in the medevat, though, just kind of following along. If he just set it up like right here or something, that would actually be pretty good, and he does set it up right there. It might get a shot off. There it goes. It will start hitting these Marines on the side, actually doing a decent amount of damage, but not enough to save this drop, and he will want to get this medevac out of here, but he could get vision on the sensor tower. He would just want to keep the medevac somewhere in this area where the Marines cannot shoot it, just to get that free sensor tower kill, as he did get in the third base. This army also fighting. They will take out one tank, but now they will run straight into an array of siege chains from the red side, and those will just decimate all those Marines. 3-3 started for both players. The +2 weapons for the vehicles will be just finished for the blue Terran. He will not be starting that +3 for a time now, though he does have the resources for it, but he's just going to keep on producing. He will get a Marauder now, switching up his build very slightly, but that will allow him to tank a lot more of those siege chain shots, because they do take a lot, they are bigger and bulkier, so that mitigates the area of effect damage from the siege chain fire. And in the side, we still see this medevac. We see Widow Mines coming from the red Terran. If those are just walked over, then blue could be in quite a bad situation. I don't know whose stand that was, but either way, these Widow Mines have been seen, and they probably will be stand here in a moment. Oh, and he does take a shot on the medevac, dealing so much damage, but it does not one-shot the medevac. Luckily enough for our Terran, for our blue Terran rather, that all does survive. He does not want that one to be loaded up, though. You do not want to send a 25 health medevac on a drop mission. It will die very quickly if it is caught by literally anything. Even a Marine would only take a few shots to kill it. This medevac's sitting here with only one Marauder as well. Don't know what the plan is for that. Some units are just left around the map. Kind of sloppy play there. You do want to fix that. The Red Terran is all together, it looks like, and is getting his 4th base behind all this, still under protection of that sensor tower as well, making sure that there are no units on the way. But in the 3rd base, he does not have a sensor tower anymore, and he has refused to build another one. This double drop in here will kill many of these workers, and possibly the base itself. This 4th base is going to go down for the Blue Terran, but then he will see this army. He will know that he cannot have a hope or dream of doing this, and all these SCVs will be taken out. He just had them rallied here, and he did not move them. So many SCVs going down. A total of 19 have been killed. I believe most of them just right there. This army will start engaging, but they will fight a siege tank line, and they are not siege themselves. Not the best engagement for our Red Terran, or at least not the most efficient, but he is still ready to go, and he could just drop over here and bypass these tanks, but instead he is going to drop on the blue tanks, ending their lives because of the friendly fire from their fellow siege tanks, and that clears out that entire tank line. However, we do still have a lot of Marines being produced, and Red cannot move in. I believe he lost his own siege chains, and I just missed that, actually. Or no, here they are. They did all fall back. I'm not too sure why. He was in a pretty good spot, especially if he kept rallying his Marines. But I'm not a Terran player. I don't know the methods too well. Blue is starting that +3 weapons for his vehicles, though, and that will definitely help in those siege tank exchanges. We'll see the planetary coming out. It is about halfway done, and I would hope that, oh, I'm sorry, a drop in the main that I did not see. Looks like a double drop from that very low health medevac, doing a lot of damage though, and these Marines coming in one at a time will not be any match for stimmed Marines that are being healed. Looks like this will be taking out. Both of the medevacs going down as well though, so greatly diminishing the effect of that drop. Due to the fact that he lost those very expensive units. Now 5 medevats all being loaded up except for one of them, and that will definitely hurt this base right here. He will kill most of these SCVs very quickly if they are not microed away, and there they go, a lot of them going down, and that will be, oh, I did not mean to bring that up, but 51 SCVs have been killed by our Blue Terran player. And another refiner going down as well. He wants to hit that gas income as much as possible, and that will allow him to make more siege chains and get more of those upgrades. I believe, yes, his 3-3 is already done. I believe both players' 3-3 is done. Yes, it is. Terran, or the Red Terran, only on that +2 vehicle weapons though, and not starting +3. That will hurt him in these exchanges with the siege tank fire. All these Marines being unloaded, except for a couple of them apparently, maybe keeping those in to drop on the other siege chains, which he could do right now because these Marines are so very far behind. These siege chains in a terrible location. You want to keep your army together, and all of them get taken out by the Blue Marines, and now they have free reign over this Red Terran army. They will take them out. More being dropped out. The other ones being walked in here in a line, and they will all die if they try to fight this Blue army. Red does call GG. A very bad move on his part, and that is why you keep your army together. Marines need to be at the front. You can set up a nice place for your siege chains, but you want to do it very safely, otherwise a situation like this can occur. But that is why NoZyneighbor wins that game from that engagement and from having that extra upgrade on his tanks, doing more damage throughout the last few minutes of that game. Good game for NoZyneighbor, and thank you for sending that replay.